Two major events happened in 1872. On January 20, 1872, about 200 Filipino military personnel of Fort San Felipe Arsenal in Cavite, Philippines, staged a mutiny which in a way led to the Philippine Revolution in 1896, and the other was the martyrdom of the three martyr priests in the person of Father Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora Gomborza. However, not all of us knew that there were different accounts in reference to the said event. All Filipinos must know the different side of the story, since this event led to another tragic yet meaningful part of our history, the execution of Gomborza, which in effect a major factor in awakening of nationalism among the Filipinos. Let's examine the contemporaries writing states that is right and wrong regarding in 1872 Cavite Mutiny that promotes the awakening side of Filipinos to the Spanish government regime. Father Salvador Ponce y Torres. Ponce was an Augustinian friar who first came to the Philippines in 1884, left his order in 1899 in Manila, and for the next decade spent much of his time in writing against the friars and cooperating with the founders of the Iglesia Filipina Independiente. Finally, being reconciled with the Catholic Church, he re-entered the Augustinians and spent the rest of his life in a monastery in Germany. Since he retracted his anti-friar and anti-Catholic writings as a whole, and spent much of the rest of his life in refuting them, all of his writings must be used with some cautions, particularly since those which may in some sense be qualified as historical were composed in great haste and comparable carelessness and exaggeration. Evidence. Defensa del Clero Filipino and El Clero Filipino are the two works in question. The first of them replicates Plasciu's description and offers no information that could not be found elsewhere, be found in Montero y Vidal, and in fact it is brief in most cases. The second volume is a collection of biographies based on facts. Also, the bibliographies of notable secular priests from the Philippines, such as Burgos and Gomez. He attributes the revolt of 1872 to the friars, as was said almost publicly. Manuel Artigas y Cuerva. Manuel Artigas, a biographer, bibliographer, historian, and a journalist. Artigas pursued his interest in journalism. In 1891, his first book, Manual del Empleados, was published. In 1892, at the height of the revolution in early 1897, Artigas evacuated his family to Spain. There, he continued writing for some periodicals through which he exposed the abuses of Spanish authorities in the Philippines. He became acquainted with prominent Spaniards who sympathized with the Filipino. In 1899, he founded the El Filipino. He wrote extensively on Philippine history, more so perhaps than any other person in the first 3 decades after the Revolution. He treated the event of 1872 in various periodical publications, and as a part of books on broader subject, his major work was Los Sucesos de 1872. Artigas reproduces in full a number of documents of the period not then previously published. Unfortunately, he gives no source for these documents. Some at least are certainly which create a strong probability that Artigas, who worked in the National Archives collection, had access to documents which have since disappeared or been destroyed so that they remain only in his volume. Apolinario Mabini. Apolinario Mabini y Maranan, born on 23rd of July 1864, San Juan, and died at 13th of May 1903. Manila was a Filipino revolutionary leader, educator, lawyer, and statesman who served first as a legal and constitutional advisor to the revolutionary government, and then as the first Prime Minister of the Philippines upon the establishment of the First Philippine Republic, Apolinar Hadiri. Mabini devotes one chapter of his posthumously published work La Revolución Filipina to our subject, causa y efecto de la ecuación de los Padres Burgos, Gomez y Zamora. Mabini's chapter is not narrative but rather a discussion of the place of the martyr priests in the revolution. He states that the three priests are innocent.